So guys, Nnamdi Kanu defended himself fearlessly today in courts. In fact, today's session is a very interesting one, and I don't think you have ever seen the type of content I'm about to display here for you guys today, because in today's session, Nnamdi Kanu was the one defending himself all alone, and he spoke fearlessly and defended himself fearlessly. In fact, I won't be wasting much of your time because I want to be displaying the full transcript of everything that transpired in court today. And you won't want to miss this very content because Nnamdi Kanu spoke with authority. He defended himself with authority. And I'm going to be displaying every bit of what happened in court today because Nnamdi Kanu surprised me. And indeed, it's going to surprise you after looking at the transcript and after watching the transcript of what transpired between him and Omotosho in court today. Because at the end of the day, Omotosho obliged to what Nnamdi Kanu said. In short, without wasting much of your time, let's head straight to what happened in court today because Nnamdi Kanu is a type of person that I have never seen before in my life. First of all, in quotes, Nnamdi Kanu said, "My witnesses are coming from Ethiopia, Kenya, others." Nnamdi Kanu tells courts. Let's be reading everything in details, step by step. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, says his witnesses will be coming from all parts of the world, including Ethiopia, Kenya, and the United States. The news agency of Nigeria, NAN, reports that Kanu, in a motion filed on October 21, listed the names of prominent Nigerians and foreigners he intended to call as witnesses to defend himself. Kanu, in the application he personally signed, informed the courts of his plan to call a total of 23 witnesses, divided into two categories. The first category, he said, would be those he called ordinary but material witnesses. He further informed the courts that his second category of witnesses would be vital and compellable and shall be summoned under Section 232 of the Evidence Act 2011. When the case was called on Friday, which is today, Chief Adeboyega Awomolo SAN represented the FG, and Kanu, who spoke from the dock, announced his appearance for himself. It started by, "I am Nnamdi Kanu. I stand for myself," he said. This is Nnamdi Kanu introducing himself, telling everyone that he's Nnamdi Kanu. Let's continue. Awomolo then told the court that the case was scheduled for defense and that they were ready to proceed. But Kanu said he was not prepared to commence his defense. He told the court that his disengaged lawyers were yet to hand over the case file to him. This is Nnamdi Kanu telling the courts that the set of disengaged lawyers in which he disengaged recently were yet to hand over the case file to him. And in quotes, Nnamdi Kanu said, "My lord, my counsel left the case yesterday and I have not received the file from them. The few people that would have brought this were precluded from seeing me," Nnamdi Kanu said in quotes. The IPOB leader then urged the court to adjourn the matter to enable him to do the needful. Kanu also told the courts that the 3-day weekly visit to him at the Department of State Services DSS facility would no longer be enough for him to prepare his defense, considering the number of witnesses who would be coming across the world. When Justice Omotosho asked him what the visiting days and times were, he said 2 hours every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. According to Kanu, that is not enough because I have 23 witnesses that will be coming all parts of the world from Ethiopia, Kenya, and the US. In quotes, Nnamdi Kanu said, "I will want the courts to make an order so that these people can have access to me." When the judge asked him if these people were part of the witnesses he listed in the motion he filed, Nnamdi Kanu said, They are part of the witnesses listed, my lord. Responding, Adegboyega said Kanu had had all the time to defend himself since his no-case submission application failed. You can imagine this Awomolo. Adegboyega Awomolo, after Nnamdi Kanu had prayed to Omotosho that look at what is happening, that I need time. This is Omotosho, this is Awomolo now, countering what Nnamdi Kanu has said, that Nnamdi Kanu had all the time in the world to prepare for his defense. Forgetting that it was just yesterday that Nnamdi Kanu disengaged his set of lawyers, that he would defend himself. And now Awomolo is telling the court that Nnamdi Kanu had all the time in the world to prepare for his defense. This same Awomolo, every time Awomolo keeps on tormenting Nnamdi Kanu. Every time Awomolo keeps on levying up different charges against Nnamdi Kanu. Instead of Awomolo to keep quiet this time and listen to what Nnamdi Kanu had to say, he stood up immediately. Nnamdi Kanu prayed to the court that he should be granted more time to see his witnesses. Awomolo came up and countered that very motion from Nnamdi Kanu, saying that Nnamdi Kanu had all the whole time in the world to prepare for his defense. Well, let's continue. Besides, the senior lawyer said the court's belief had been trying to save the subpoenaed witnesses Kanu listed in his application, the summons to appear in courts. He said, this is Awomolo speaking now, contrary to Kanu's submission, he was not aware that some of the witnesses are coming from parts of the world. You can imagine Awomolo saying that when Nnamdi Kanu listed his witnesses that he'll be calling, that Nnamdi Kanu himself did not know that they'll be coming from parts of the world. That they'll be coming from Ethiopia, Kenya, and US. Meaning Nnamdi Kanu is confused. You can imagine what Awomolo is coming up to tell the court. You can imagine the kind of counter Awomolo is giving. Well, let's continue. Awomolo, who did not oppose Kanu's request for adjournment, prayed the court not to vacate the standing order which directed Kanu to defend himself within 6 days. You can imagine Awomolo. Nnamdi Kanu said that he needed time to prepare his defense. And now Awomolo is telling the court that the court should not extend a standing order of 6 days for Nnamdi Kanu to defend himself. Meaning from now till Tuesday or Wednesday, they should conclude Nnamdi Kanu's trial. You can imagine. What type of person is this Awomolo? How can you be this wicked, Awomolo? Well, let's continue. I am aware that there is a standing order for a defendant to defend himself within 10 days. The defendant wasted yesterday. This is the second day, my lord. I urge your lordship to keep to the standing order, Awomolo said. Justice Omotosho said he was surprised with Kanu's statements that his lawyer had yet to hand over the case file, especially when Chief Kanu Agabi was involved. I am surprised that Chief Agabi will keep the file to himself, having announced yesterday that the defendant will conduct the trial himself and told the counsel to leave, he said. That was what Omotosho had to reply. Let's continue. The judge, who is Omotosho, however, observed that the issue raised on Thursday was not about the case file. The only issue raised was that of the jurisdiction, which I declined and said it should be raised in the final written address, he said. The judge said parties in the case agreed when an accelerated hearing was granted by the courts. He said the prosecution were even threatened that if they refused to close their case within the stipulated time, their case would be foreclosed. However, in the interest of justice and a fair hearing, having raised the issue of the file this morning, though it is strange that Agabi would not release the file, I will grant an adjournment for the file to be given to the defendant, Justice Omotosho said. The judge also granted the application by Kanu that his counsel should have access to him on non-working days for the purpose of the trial. This is hereby granted. The DSS should give him access on Saturday and Monday to have access to his counsel. The judge said this was the order given by Justice James Omotosho today in court, that the DSA should allow Nnamdi Kanu's counsel to be visiting him during the weekdays and during weekend periods, meaning that Nnamdi Kanu's counsel can visit him at any time. Justice Omotosho held that in as much as opportunity will be given to Kanu, I also repeat that the right in Section 36 of the Constitution is given to a defendant to defend himself. It is not that a defendant must be compelled to make use of that right. This court is here to do justice, and I will do justice to everybody. In quotes, Omotosho said, the impression created when I assumed this trial was that there was a delay. Against this impression, the judge said he created 2 sessions, morning and afternoon, in the courts to ensure that Kanu's matter was given an expeditious hearing. Besides, he said it was to ensure that other matters before him too did not suffer undue delay. I will beg the defendants in the name of Almighty God to let us make use of this opportunity. Not making use of this opportunity would deny some other people their trial. Their trial will suffer. We have Chinese people here in this court this morning who are here for trial, he said. Besides, another defendant, a Zimbabwean lady who had been in detention because she could not perfect her bail, was asked to stand up for everyone to know that there were other cases in courts. I pray that we use the opportunity. The courts will not refrain from invoking appropriate provisions of the law, Justice Omotosho said. The judge recalled that on October 22, the court did not sit until 2 p.m. because the court was vacated from 9 a.m. to allow Kanu and his legal team to have a private consultation in line with an earlier order. I moved some matters to 2 p.m. and I did not leave here until 7 p.m. that day, he added. Justice Omotosho said, however, on October 23, when Kanu was to open his defense, nothing happened. According to him, with time, the court will invoke appropriate provisions. He also said that though the allegation that the DSS operative were eavesdropping was not substantiated, he decided to grant the order for them to meet in his courts. If I continue this way, other matters will suffer, the judge said. Justice Omotosho therefore ordered the DSS to provide another facility for the IPOB leader and his counsel to meet. In quotes, Omotosho said, I will not vacate these courts for any pre-trial again because this opportunity was not used, he said. The judge then adjourned the matter until October 27 for Kanu to open his defense. 27th is Monday next week, and we hope that Nnamdi Kanu is ready by then for his defense. Well, at this point, I will let you guys tell me what you feel about this in the comment section below. You have heard and listened to what happened in courts, and this is the complete transcript of everything that transpired in courts before the case was adjourned to October 27. Do well to like this video, share this video, and hit the subscribe button below because I'll be bringing you more trending updates on this very case.